Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. In the next couple of minutes I'm going to have a quick look at the UGREEN HiTune X6, which is a pair of affordable true wireless earbuds with active noise cancelling. So if you want to know what performance you can expect for around $50 or $60, then let's see the details together. But first of all, I have to tell you that I got the HiTune X6 earbuds from UGREEN for testing. I'm not getting paid for doing this review, and all I'm going to share with you is my own honest and unfiltered opinion based on my own personal experience with the earbuds. And that experience started with me opening up the box. And when I first saw the buds, I wasn't immediately hooked, as I wasn't quite sure if I liked the general design of the earbuds. But after a while it started growing on me, and now I can say that I kinda like what the buds look like. But maybe more importantly, I found that they sit securely in my ears and they are also comfortable to wear for hours on end. There are 3 sets of silicone tips in the box for you to choose from, so hopefully anyone can get a good fit with the buds. The X6 earbuds are not necessarily the best option for running or cycling outdoors, because the fit is not super snug, we don't have a transparency mode, and wind noise is not the best either, but the strong dynamic bass, the good noise isolation and the IPX5 rating together make them a great low-budget option for casual gym use. The fit could even be better if UGREEN decided to use something more of a rubbery material to cover the inside of the buds instead of this glossy finish, but that's okay, and the build quality is above average too. The buds weigh in at around 5.5 grams each. Onto the battery case, its design reminds me of that of the Jabra 85T a little, except for the fact that the UGREEN case, similarly to the buds, has a dual tone finish. The case is made fully from plastic, but it's surprisingly robustly built for the money, and even the lid opens and closes firmly thanks to the springy hinge mechanism. The way the earbuds sit, or rather stand, inside the case wasn't my favorite at first, as I tend to have issues with grabbing earbuds by their top, especially if they are as rounded as the X6 buds are. But I found that the magnets are just strong enough to hold the buds safely inside, but taking them out of the case is also easy enough, so at the end of the day I'm okay with that. The case comes without support for wireless charging, so it only offers you the usual USB Type-C port for charging purposes. The total battery life can be around 26 hours, while the buds themselves can last up to 6 hours with a single charge, that's with ANC off. Activating the hybrid active noise cancelling will reduce the playtime to around 5 hours, but 10 minutes of quick charging can give you an hour of playback. The HiTune X6 comes with Bluetooth version 5.1 on board. SBC and AAC are the only 2 audio codecs that are supported, so do not expect high-res options with these buds. However, pairing is quick, and the buds never drop the signal during my tests, regardless of whether I connected them to an iOS or an Android device. Lip sync issues are non-existent with videos or movies thanks to the low latency mode, which you can enable by tapping on the earbuds 4 times. The low latency also makes mobile gaming enjoyable, and the extreme bass heavy effects can only further enhance the experience, but more about the sound quality in a bit. Each of the buds can be used on its own, and switching between single and stereo mode is smooth without any issues. There is no multi-point use, but in fairness no one should expect that feature in this price range. The UGREEN HiTune X6 comes with 6 microphones altogether, which can pick up my voice clearly in a quiet room. However, it sounds a little bit too digital and thin to me. Turning on some background chatter on the speakers in front of me puts the RCV 4.0 environmental noise cancelling algorithm to work, which does an average job at taming the ambient chatter while keeping my voice relatively easy to understand. Onto the controls, we can find the touch-sensitive interface on each bud, which work okay with great sensitivity and quick response times. The accuracy is also good, even though it's not quite 100%, but the comprehensive set of available functions leaves nothing to be desired. We have everything from single to quadruple taps, and also 2 different long press actions at our disposal on both buds to control play, pause, tracks, volume, phone calls, voice assistant, ANC and latency modes. To be honest, I have a hard time recalling any other earbuds with such a complete set of functionality, regardless of price. I only wish the accuracy of the touch controls was a bit better, and also there is a bit of a learning curve due to the plenty available functions and different tapping actions. And when I say that the accuracy is not 100%, I mean that sometimes the earbuds do not really know if you tap them 2, 3 or 4 times, and you might end up with changing tracks instead of switching between latency modes, for example, but that's more of an exception than it is the rule, if you know what I mean. And if you ask me, I rather have full functionality with the occasional hiccup than having only a limited set of control options available to me at all times. Of course, for around $50 we don't get a smartphone app with custom settings, but you get all the control options literally at your fingertips. Another thing we don't get with the X6 is smart sensors on the buds, so there is no automatic play and pause. However, we get active noise cancellation, which you can turn on and off with a 1 second long press action on either of the buds. A strange fact is that there is no transparency mode of any kind, so you can only toggle between ANC on and normal mode. And the performance of the hybrid active noise cancellation is kind of hectic. Interestingly enough, it did really well in my simulated airplane cabin noise test, and it was almost as good as the much more expensive Soundcore Live P3, and it managed to beat the Earphone 3 Pro 2, for example, but in real-life scenarios, such as walking on the street with traffic noise around me, the buds couldn't really deliver good results. I mean, the passive isolation is good, but switching between ANC on and normal mode did not make that much of a difference at all. Consistent low-frequency hums are blocked out efficiently, but less consistent higher-pitched noises prove to be quite challenging, to say the least. Wind noise can also be a bit distracting with ANC turned on, but in normal mode it gets better, so you might want to turn off the ANC completely in windy conditions. And considering the noise-cancelling characteristics of the X6, probably it's the best way to use the earbuds most of the time anyway, except for when commuting or traveling maybe. So the ANC performance is a bit of a mixed bag, but it delivers an acceptable performance for its price. And now it's time we discuss the sound quality of the HiTune X6, because it's way more than just acceptable. The 10mm dynamic speakers are made of carbon with a diamond coating of sorts, and they are tuned to deliver an extremely bass-heavy sound signature. Actually, it's one of the strongest bass I have heard coming from any earbuds regardless of price. There is loads of dynamics and punch in the bottom octaves, which is definitely good news for true bass heads, but I personally just find it a bit too overwhelming for the most part. The extra energy in not only the sub-bass but also in the mid and upper bass regions make the mid-range pull back a little, which is something I don't like that much. With that said, instruments and vocals come through with a surprisingly great level of clarity and intensity, and that is not what we usually get from such bass-focused earbuds, so that's a trait I pretty much welcome. The highs are nicely detailed and sparkly, but you don't get an ear-piercing level of harshness, not even close to full volume. Sibilance is well under control, and sharp edges are mostly rounded off. We get a spacious sound stage and good enough separation. And even though the overwhelming bass seems to suck out some air from the presentation, the sound can still be surprisingly open for such a bass-driven sound signature. And considering the price, we get an exceptionally good sound, which is a perfect match for EDM, trance, hip-hop or R&B, but it's not that really suited for more acoustical or classical genres. In terms of overall volume, these buds can go crazy loud, especially in normal mode. However, in ANC mode it feels like the maximum volume gets turned down a notch. It's still plenty loud though, and there is no significant change in the sound signature between the ANC mode, which is good. And to give you some really quick comparisons, there is the Earphone 3 Pro 2, for example, which still sounds bassy, but it feels a touch more balanced to me with a more forward mid-range and a more open presentation. However, if you want an even more open and balanced sound, you will have to get the Earphone Air Pro 2. But neither of the earphone buds can deliver such a huge amount of energy the HiTune X6 can. The Soundcore Live P3 offers an over-the-top low end, but it sounds even more boomy in the bass and less open in the mids or highs. But Soundcore has an app with a great EQ feature, so you can play around with their sound quite a bit. And last, the Soundpeats T2, which was one of my low-budget favorites from last year, has a much more balanced sound overall, but the X6 sounds significantly more powerful in not only the bass but in the treble as well, which make it a better choice for songs with loads of dynamics and energy. And if it wasn't obvious yet, let me start my conclusion by saying that if you need a dynamic, bass-heavy, energetic sound, then you can hardly find anything better for under $100 than the UGREEN HiTune X6. It might lack some features, such as wireless charging or app support, but it delivers the goodies in the sound department, which should be at the top of anyone's priorities when it comes to buying true wireless earbuds. For $50, the less than stellar ANC performance and the average battery life are forgivable in my opinion, and for that amount of money we get a sleek design, a good comfort, a tight enough fit, and touch controls with a set of functions well beyond of what most rivals can offer. So I believe that the X6 is an exceptionally good, low-budget alternative, all things considered. And this was my review of the UGREEN HiTune X6. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to leave a comment down below should you have any questions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.